The best character for 3v3 knockout is obviously going to be Thanatos, and as you can see here, I'm playing my level 20 Thanatos. Now, why he's so great for 3v3 is very simple. He currently has the greatest sustain out of every character in the game, as well as massive knockout potential. And if you use the Undying build, which I'll link in the video description down below, it's the build for 3v3 Thanatos where you can sustain yourself almost an entire match, no problem, once you kite around properly and use your abilities to land massive knockout power on your enemies. And as you can see here, my level 20 Thanatos is pretty decent. I enjoyed leveling him up. He was my first initial favorite character in the game, well, until Wukong came out, and then for some reason I'm starting to gravitate more towards him. The last time I actually played this character was when I finally got him to level 20, so this is my first matchup since then, and I'm super excited to see how this game goes. I'm already landing that massive knockout on Zeus. And the massive thing you should know about Thanatos, obviously, is once you get to that purple range, you're in such a dangerous range, you need to avoid him as much as possible or look for an opportunity to destroy him. One of the mistakes my opponents are doing right here is they're focusing my allies massively. I mean, at the same time, it can be beneficial, but if you just allow a Thanatos to roam around on the map, especially in 3v3, you have a high chance of regretting it because Thanatos can maneuver around and control fights very easily. However, the issue with Thanatos obviously is the fact that if you do have no abilities up, you are very vulnerable, or if you're in a cramped position. Thanatos needs ground to move on. He needs space. If he's cramped up, for example, in Crumbling Keep, if you're on there and all it is that little tower, Thanatos is not going to excel as well as the other characters. That's why one of the things I like to do whenever I'm facing a Thanatos in 3v3, 2v2, or 1v1, that's the character I focus first because I know his weakness. As a very good Thanatos player, knowing his weakness is something I must be aware of so I can compensate for it. That Zeus right there is looking really, really nice. Look, he has a high level of purple and it would be a perfect knockout range right now. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but I'm going to try. Another thing with Thanatos that you need to be aware of, you are not the main character of this anime. Your whole goal is support and domination in a sense. Why I say that is because as Thanatos, yes, you do not excel well in cramped spaces and you are very good at controlling the map. However, what you truly do well is when you have your enemies on the floor and your opponents are attacking your allies, you have the perfect opportunity to go in, gain distance for your allies, or go for that knockout on massive damage. As you can see, most of the time on this map, what I'm doing is zooming around. I'm not staying in consistent battles. While my partners are going in for the head-on collision because they're more the tanks and damage dealers, I'm here in the back, zooming around, kiting around my opponents while I'm looking for opportunities to strike and eliminate them. It's similar to an assassin, but a little different, as Thanatos has the power that a lot of other characters in the game does not. His knockout potential, again, is super high simply for the fact that his abilities drain his vulnerability as well. So you're draining your life force to literally do more damage to your enemies in a sense. That's how I like to think about it. This right here is a perfect example. As you can see, my enemies are going right on to my allies, and what do? Gain distance for them and allow me to deal damage to my enemies, and he's already in purple range. I may get the knockout here. Somehow he does survive. Now the Izanami is very smart. You can see she's changing up and starting to aim for me. That should get the Hercules out perfectly right there, as we excluded him from his allies so he had no help. As you can see there, I eliminated the Izanami. My two allies were waiting right there, and that Zeus is staying far. I was happily able to dodge that area. As you can see, my ally comes in to assist because it seems like they're getting the gist. Go in, attack, and wait for Thanatos to come from the backline and destroy them. Right there, you see me use the scythe on the Zeus simply to give my allies some distance from him, as he was taking advantage and doing some sweet damage on Hercules and King Arthur. And they immediately left and went onto the Izanami. So the Izanami is probably having some trouble. That was a very nice mobility. Another thing with Thanatos that you do need to understand is that do not use your mobility to always come in. Don't reactivate it. Sometimes, or most of the time when you're playing Thanatos, your main goal with your mobility is to use it just to hover around the map. Obviously, if somebody's in the air, you can go up in the air, cancel it, and then go on a nice air flurry attacks and knock them out. Now, I do that sometimes, not all the time, because at the time it's risky. I like to save my mobility for situations where I want to dodge. See, right when I got hit with that ability by Zeus, what I did was instantly click my mobility, so the trajectory of where it would hit me back would change. And thankfully, I did not get knocked out there, because as you can clearly see, my vulnerability is high, but this build is very sustainable. As you have seen in most of the clips so far, whenever I'm attacking my enemies and knocking them out, I'm getting health back, which helps me survive I'm trying to stay alive because you can clearly see I could be knocked out at any moment right now. Dodging out at the perfect time. That dodge only worked because my Wi-Fi was really good right now. This poor Zeus, I may be able, yes, this is it right here, into the heavy attack, and it should knock him out, and I recovered some vulnerability right there. Nice side swipe, and you can see it. Perfect. Perfectly working for me in my favor. Zeus may knock himself out there. That's a very deadly situation to stand on. Now I'm backing up a little bit because they're all in that little area. I think the Izanami is looking, yes, she is. She chose not to engage with her allies, but instead focus on me. Thankfully, the environmental hazard drops down, separating us, and now she's on my side. Gonna knock her back here. Perfect. She dodged early, which allows me to do some damage. And this is where Thanatos can excel. If my ultimate had hit there, that would have been perfect. And as you can see, because I missed it, I instantly hit my mobility, which allowed me to get in the sky, saving me from being knocked out. And I'm gonna recoup some health right there. And now she's in purple. Now the Hercules hit me with that giant penguin, and it actually hit really hard. So I'm gonna stay here and do this wheel. I'm gonna turn it into a wheel and just keep going around until it stops. It's gonna save me. That Izanami may have made a mistake right there. Yeah, she's not gonna get back on, and she eliminates herself. I've caught so many people out with that on this map, and that's something I should tell you guys. When you're seeing this turning, if you're in danger or you want to kite people who are very aggressive to you, all you have to do is treat it like a rolling log on water and keep going around, keep going around. Now, obviously, if you make a simple mistake, you'll probably fall to the bottom, but this is what I like to do, and it works, I would say, probably 50% of the time. I have a lot of clips recorded. I'm probably going to put them together where I catch people off in this scenario. Now, with that being said, we're starting Crumbling Keep here. This was the map I was talking about earlier. If we're left just in this castle right there, no extra ground around, it's very dangerous for Thanatos, especially for the fact that he's not good in cramped positions. Now, it looks to me like the Izanami is focusing me, which is very smart. They're not letting me roam around as much as I did in the first round. They really compensated properly in the second round, getting a nice knockback right there. Can I get the Hercules? It may end up in a knockout. Yes, it does. That is a very early point for my team. I don't have my mobility up to save me there, so you can see me staying back, looking to see if I can get this, and I do get the Zeus. The intention there was actually to get Izanami and Zeus. However, one is better than nothing, and as you can see, my allies are coming in to peel for me. And if you don't know what peeling is, it's simply to get your opponents off your back. They're coming in and helping me out greatly. I may be able to eliminate the Zeus, and I turned my camera because I wasn't sure where the Hercules is, giving us a point there in the 2 victory. Now, if you don't know, so far I'm actually qualifying for the Immortal Challenge. And if you don't know, the Immortal Challenge is a challenge I started where all you have to do is do all 3 rounds in 3v3 arcade or knockout mode without dying once, and you just have to win in the end. If you want to check my video out on that, it will also be in the description down below. But right now I'm qualifying. I haven't died once, and it looks like we may get this last round victory, hopefully. Either way, I have not died. That's the main thing. I am an immortal with Thanatos. That's a very good air attack there by me, allowing me to connect that Hercules out. And you can see my vulnerability is now going to go super low. Now, obviously, if he was lower, it would have allowed me the option to heal up full to 0% vulnerability. I was not moving my camera there. And again, that is the biggest mistake a lot of people make in 2v2 and 3v3. They do not move their camera around to pay attention. I make it all the time, as you're seeing me with this gameplay, so I can't fault anyone for it. However, if you do master allowing yourself to be aware of your environment, you're going to succeed heavily. I went too high there for that air light, but if I had gotten that air light in that direction, it would have knocked out my opponent. Now, another thing that I like to pay attention to with Thanatos is the angles at which you go in, because obviously the angles are very important in knocking people out. But Zeus is very high vulnerability. I'm going to try to get him, but I was unable to. However, if he did not dodge there, that would have been a game over for him right there. I love being able to hit people in the air with Thanatos. I do the same with Zeus, as they're very good. I mean, obviously, Thanatos has got wings. He can fly, right? Now, we're seeing the map get smaller and smaller, and I'm actually a little worried. I'm trying my best to still zoom around as much as possible and not go down there too much. I think this is a mistake I'm making, but I'm going to try to compensate for it, where I'm looking for opportunities to do damage. I just don't have as much space to roam. I'm going to keep my mobility up. I'm obviously not going to go in. Oh, no, I missed that interrupt. I was trying to get her in the charge. It was very expected. I do have my ultimate up. I want to get the Hercules, but I'm not sure if I will be able to. I'm going to look for an opportunity here, use my scythe, and the Hercules actually got knocked back, so it didn't work out in my favor. I'm going to pop this here, and the Izanami takes the front. Now, actually thinking about it in hindsight, she was kind of in the same position, but I was actually hoping to get the Hercules. Boom! It does knock out him. We just need one more point right here. I tried to eliminate the Izanami, not working out in my favor. Coming in here with the heavy attack, and because of the wall, she is safe. Oh no, the Zeus comes out just... Oh, no. Okay, so now I don't qualify for the Immortal Challenge. That right there happens. It happens to me a lot when I'm playing Sol, but now I'm just gonna go super hard and go in, popping in the interrupt, coming in with the scythe, and they interrupt me with some nice side attacks, coming in full with my mobility, because in small places like this, more people are likely to be hit by your mobility, and I get the Izanami kill, giving us the victory. GG.